Ah, YouTube Kids, home to some of the weirdest videos on the internet. This place is filled to the brim with clickbait titles. Do not call the boss baby at 3 a.m. OMG, actually worked. And my personal favorite, Spider-Man vs. Pink Spider-Girl vs. Spider-Children prank in REL Life. Now, one of the most popular YouTube Kids channels is one that I'm sure many of you have heard of before, and if you haven't, there's a name for that. Ryan's World, formerly known as Ryan's Toy Reviews, a channel run by two parents about their 12-year-old son. The channel was started in 2015 when Ryan was only 2 years old, meaning that for the entirety of Ryan's conscious life, he has been doing nothing but creating YouTube videos. Now, Ryan's parents often argue that it was his idea to start the channel, but it's hard to believe that a 2-year-old toddler had the foresight to see that toy reviews were going to become the next big thing on YouTube, and become the next big thing they did, because fast forward to 2025 and Ryan's World has amassed nearly 40 million subscribers, even holding the title for the highest earning channel on YouTube from 2018 to 2020. And upon hearing this, I just had to see what sort of groundbreaking content they're making.
Hey guys, this is a whole bunch of mommies here. Let me know if you can spot Ryan. Ryan's somewhere here.
What am I watching? But as with all good things in life, Ryan's World was in need of a movie adaptation, and luckily for us, on May 21st of 2024, we got our first look at the trailer for Ryan's World the movie. This was a huge step for the Ryan's World the movie economy. This movie was going to be huge, massive even. It had a budget of $10 million and was advertised as Ryan's biggest adventure yet. They even got a Ryan balloon at the Macy's Thanksgiving Day parade. So as you can guess, when the movie's release date of August 16th rolled around, audiences flocked to theaters just to get a glimpse of this movie, and oh yeah, for some reason this movie wasn't good. Who could have seen that coming? This movie absolutely bombed at the box office. If you remember the $10 million budget they had, they didn't even make back $1 million. And before you feel bad for Ryan, he has more than enough money to survive this flop. Plus, I'm pretty sure this movie was entirely his parents' idea. But you know what? I can't help but think this movie was not given a fair chance. Sure, nobody watched it, but that just means nobody knows if this movie is actually good, right? It's better than arson. Ryan's World the movie. Where do I start? Probably at the start. We begin the movie at Ryan's house where he is busy doing a live stream with his YouTube Shorts magician Dan Rhodes, and right off the bat, it is made known that Ryan is the most famous person in the universe. His live stream gets up to 16 million viewers, which for context is 5 times the current world record. And that's just counting how many devices were tuned in. There's presumably like 5 times that amount because we see all these families hurtled around their phones watching Ryan's stream. It's almost like this is a national event. But the trick goes horribly wrong because Ryan can't find his magic goo, and he looks up to see his sisters Emma and Kate are rubbing their hands together like supervillains. Ryan is going to kill them. So he heads upstairs, and Emma and Kate tell Ryan that they stole his goo to try and get him to play with them, but Ryan understandably crashes out because they ruined his live stream. So he storms out of the room with his friend Aiden, who looks like 10 times older than Ryan, and they head off to the comic book store where Ryan gets recognized by a fan.
Ryan! Whoa, huge fan. Can I get a selfie? Please, 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 please.
At the comic book store, there's this door that says no kids allowed, but Ryan and Aiden don't care, and they just start spamming codes into the lock, which sets off all the alarms. Ryan starts whistling to hopefully distract the cashier, which for some reason doesn't work. The cashier finally comes over to kick them out, but suddenly he recognizes Ryan from YouTube and informs them that his little sister is a huge fan. This is very important, don't forget this part. So he lets them into the room because, well, this is Ryan's World after all, and they find this bootleg Ryan's World comic book, which I don't know why this is in the 18+ section of the store, but Ryan and Aiden buy the book and rush home to check it out, and the cashier follows behind them, turning the sign to closed. That's when I knew this guy meant business. Once Ryan and friend get home, they head to Ryan's room to find his sisters have yet again destroyed everything, this time ruining his 1 out of 10 limited golden surprise egg. He storms out the room, leaving his sisters alone with the comic book, from which this mysterious unicorn starts talking to them, saying he can fix their Ryan problems if they jump into the comic book. Spoiler alert, that is not a unicorn. Then no more than 5 seconds later, Ryan and Aiden come back into the room and somehow instantly figure out that Emma and Kate are in the comic book. Now I don't know if this is a common common occurrence in the Ryan universe, but they are completely unfazed by this happening. It's like it's a weekly event. So Ryan jumps into the book to bring his sisters back, and from this point the movie switches from live action to an anime comic book style of animation, and as flawed as this movie is, I honestly don't really mind the animation. It was done by Shin-A Animation, who is also responsible for Doraemon and Cran Shin-chan. I apologize if I butchered those names. The animation here looks nowhere near as polished or inspired as those shows, but it's far more than I was expecting from a movie titled this. In the comic book world, Ryan gets attacked by these panda guys and he whips out his superpowers to take them down. That's something I really liked about this movie. They didn't waste any time with Ryan trying to figure out what the hell is going on here. He just kind of accepts everything that's happening to him as completely normal. Then this tornado bat that I forgot the name of comes to help Ryan, and this is probably the worst character in the movie. She's very reminiscent of Navi from Ocarina of Time. She informs Ryan that he has fallen into a place called Ryan's World. Holy shit, it's all coming together. But Ryan's World is in grave danger, and the only one who can save it is, of course, Ryan himself. So Ryan begrudgingly agrees to save the world under the pretense that he will also be able to free his sisters. At least he has his priorities straight. Meanwhile, Emma and Kate get trapped by the man who is wearing the unicorn mask, who's revealed to be Dark Titan, who is basically just evil Ryan. You can tell by the backwards R on his shirt. Here we meet Alpha and Combo, who have also been trapped by evil Ryan, and these characters are the bane of my existence.
Behold! Only Combo Panda is this good at dancing!
That's Combo.
All the animated characters in this movie, except for Ryan, are voiced by professional voice actors, and I think this was a very smart choice. A lot of YouTuber slash TikToker movies fall short because the acting in them can just be so unbearable. And it makes sense, the skills it takes to be in a YouTube video are very different from a full-on movie production. But the Ryan's World movie is able to avoid this problem for the most part because they hired actual voice actors. And even Ryan, as the only non-professional voice actor here, does a pretty solid job, all things considered. I almost forgot that what I was watching was a YouTuber movie. That is until Ryan's dad hops in dressed like a pink bunny and almost gets this video demonetized. So Ryan bursts into Dark Titan's lair, they have an epic fight, Emma and Kate find a way to escape the dungeon, and with the power of friendship, they kill Dark Titan. Why does this movie still have 30 minutes left? As it turns out, Dark Titan was just a puppet for this guy who is the true villain of Ryan's World, and his name is Prepare Yourself.
The Big Bad! The Big Bad! The Big Bad!
The Big Bad is a parasocial Ryan fan who knows literally everything there is to know about Ryan, and using a magic paintbrush, he actually created this entire world himself. He reveals his evil plan to his henchmen, which includes evil Ryan because somehow he is not dead. And basically this is the end of Wreck-It Ralph. He's shooting Mentos into this volcano so he can make it explode and turn everything evil. It raises the question why he even created this world in the first place if he's just going to destroy it, but this is the Ryan's World movie, so we don't have to think about it too much. Ryan and friends all gather around and create a plan to defeat the Big Bad. They have a little character development scene here where Ryan realizes that in order to make it to the top of the volcano, he has to play a game with Emma and Kate. But as soon as they make it to the top, they are instantly captured and their whole plan is ruined. They're dragged inside to the Big Bad's lair where he then spends 10 hours monologuing about his evil machine instead of actually doing any of the things he is talking about, which gives Aiden in the real world just enough time to draw a portal on the comic book and send Ryan's other action figures into the world to save the day. Why didn't they do this earlier? I don't know. But then the Big Bad drops the bombshell that he is actually the cashier from the beginning of the movie. Remember how he said his sister was a huge fan of Ryan? Well, he gives his backstory, and apparently his little sister got an iPad for her birthday and started watching Ryan's World on it, and ever since then she has completely forgotten about her actual big brother and views Ryan as her brother. This is an absolutely crazy motivation. And so the Big Bad decides the only way he can solve this problem is by trapping Ryan in a comic book world and killing him. Not like limiting his sister's screen time or anything. Why would you even think of that? Are you stupid? Yeah. So then there's a bunch of epic fights. Ryan uses his egg mech to destroy the Big Bad's machine, and the heroes save the day by trapping everyone in this cage. No character development, no scene where the Big Bad realizes that maybe trapping Ryan was not the answer. They're all just trapped here forever. Permanently. The Big Bad will never see his sister again. But who cares about that, because now we get a pizza party! This movie is very clearly just a cash grab by Ryan's parents trying to squeeze every last bit of money they can from his name before he outgrows the brand. And I honestly can't help but feel bad for Ryan. I mean, be honest, do you really think he had much input on whether this movie got made or not? And say what you will about the movie, but there was a Ryan's World, it was a Titan Universe adventure, and they didn't lie. But just when you think it's all over, this movie decides to have an end credits scene revealing that there is a tie-in Ryan's World video game continuing the story from the movie.
What the fuck?
Man, all this talk about Ryan's World the movie is having a toll on my mental health. Maybe I should stop.
Oh, definitely. But as your licensed therapist, I get paid the longer you're here. How does this image make you feel?
Like I need therapy.
It's worse than I thought. I don't normally like to do this, but I think you need some exposure therapy. You need to play the Ryan's World video games.
Ryan's Rescue Squad. This game came out a few years before they had the guts to go for a full-on Ryan's World theatrical release, but somehow they all tie together into the same story. I do not know how the Ryan's World universe has more thought put into it than most major franchises, but that's the world we're living in now. Ryan's Rescue Squad is a 2D platformer featuring none other than our favorite toy reviewer, as well as fan favorites from the film, such as Alpha, Gus, Sick Ryan. The game takes place directly after the end credits scene where Ryan gets sucked through this portal into the Ryan's World multiverse, and he has to track down Dark Titan, who is causing these portals to open. You travel through 4 worlds in the game, each with a unique theme and a boss fight at the end with one of the bad guys from the movie. The game ends with you fighting Dark Titan on the moon, where Ryan then throws all of the villains onto this asteroid and sends them off into space, seemingly for eternity. At this point, I know more about the Ryan's World lore than politics. But no one is playing this game for the story. They're playing it to have fun. So is Ryan's Rescue Squad any fun? Well, if this is the definition of fun, then yeah. This game is the most generic 2D platformer I have ever played in my life, and that's saying something. There's nothing offensively wrong with it, everything works well enough, but you can just tell the creators of this game did not care what they were making. The level design in this game just feels like they randomly place blocks and enemies to fill space, and even in the parts where they start to introduce an interesting idea, it's over before they even get any time to do anything interesting with it. And the worst part is this game takes less than 2 hours to beat. This is a $40 game that I beat in 1 hour and 40 minutes. That's 40 cents a minute.
This probably isn't a good time, but you owe me $36,000 in therapy fees.
This whole game just feels like a rushed piece of mediocrity that doesn't need to exist, but at the same time, it's hard to be mad about it. This is a game called Ryan's Rescue Squad. If you were expecting a groundbreaking experience going into this, that's kind of on you. And there's nothing abhorrently wrong with this game, it's just fine. And the same thing could be said about both these products. They both do their jobs perfectly well. This is a movie that features Ryan, and this is a game that features Ryan. Honestly, the biggest complaint I have with these is there isn't more wrong with them, so I have more to complain about. The only reason these exist is so they could have more products with the Ryan's World name on it, and no matter what you think of them, you have to admit that they do their job perfectly fine. But at least I can finally rest easy knowing I have finally consumed all the Ryan's World products there are to consume. God damn it, there's a TV series? And mobile games?
So you were saying all these Ryan's World products are making you depressed?
Borderline unhappy.
Well, have you considered just, not doing that?
No.
Well, that was the end of our session. As your licensed therapist, I now deem you certified happier. Congratulations.
This is a parking ticket.